While the Ravens have soared high since that team could not have gotten off to a better start.
You'll be on this journey with me.
Hey guys, now joined inside Nats Park.
Okay, so Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta took direct aim at the local report regarding Deebo Samuel and Baltimore's perceived interest in the San Francisco 49ers star. By the way, all of this happened in the midst of Derrick Henry's first press conference, his introductory press conference as a Baltimore Raven, which made for some very good theater on this Thursday afternoon. So all that and more is what I have coming up in this episode, which is brought to you by my friends at BetUS. And with that, welcome into the channel. I'm Bobby Trosset, and as always, this is where I bring you Baltimore sports and beyond. Before we dive in, let's begin with getting a little feel for the newest Ravens running back, and that is King Derrick Henry, who showed up with a purple suit on his way into the castle. The red carpet was rolled out, if you will, and Derrick talked about the meaningful nature behind that purple suit.
I actually told Coach Harbaugh this funny story. This is actually the suit I wore to my grandmother's funeral, who raised me. She died in 2016, and this is her favorite color. So whenever Eric told me that I would be coming to do a press, I was like, I got to wear this suit. So we're actually moving this next week, so I was scrambling through boxes, pulling everything out, trying to find this suit and be able to put it together. So, I definitely wanted to wear this color to honor her and show all the fans around Fault Nation that I'm ready, I'm on board.
How proud and excited do you think she would be that you signed with the Ravens? You're in her favorite color.
Oh yeah, she's definitely excited. The day before free agency, we were outside in my yard playing. I was outside playing with my daughter. My grandmother loved butterflies. In Tennessee, I always see a butterfly every practice. And the house we live in now, never saw one since we've been there. We've been there going on 2 years. And that day, a butterfly just flew around me like constantly. And I knew that was kind of like a reminder that she was around and everything was going to be all right. So felt good.
So I'll tell you what, much like a lot of guys do when they come to Baltimore and they're brought in for, specific reasons related to their character, their on-field play, the fit, things of that nature. I just thought Derrick really kind of showcased himself really well and made a really great first impression in Baltimore. Eric DeCosta spoke about seeing him at the Pro Bowl not long after that upset in the divisional round several years ago in 2019, which was really January of 2020, and how guys sort of took to him, how guys looked to Derrick Henry. And I think he's going to be a seamless fit, not only in terms of the locker room culture and just embodying what it means to play and be like a Raven, but also on the field and where he fits into this offensive puzzle in Baltimore's backfield with Todd Monken, with Lamar Jackson, with guys like Pat Ricard potentially out in front at times blocking for him, with running mates like Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, probably a day 2 running back that they draft coming up in April. And so I just thought that, again, you don't want to make any crazy judgments off of a press conference, but for how soft-spoken he is and how he's able to just kind of flip a switch as soon as game time starts and become one of the most violent, explosive, downhill running backs that we've ever seen in this league. It's cool to see the blend. It's cool to see the different sides of these players when they're behind the mic in front of the cameras versus where we get to see them kind of do their bread and butter on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, any other day of the week that they choose to play. So, I got to thinking too, being that I really believe he's going to be such a key piece to their puzzle. And he's added now to a skill player list that's just immense and endless. Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. You can go up and down. Hopefully Bateman has another year in the right direction. They have so many skill players, especially in the backfield with Keaton alongside Derrick, that I think they have more work to do. Don't get me wrong. There's no doubt that given some of the losses that they've had this offseason at the offensive lines, particularly guard, with both of last year's starting guards not under contract right now. Kevin Zeitler is not under contract. John Simpson left for New York, and then Morgan Moses was just traded. So there's right now, aside from Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley, there's more questions than there are answers. But you like to think that they're going to be able to develop, they're going to be able to draft, and they're going to be able to make sure those answers are good to go. Those questions have answers once it's ready to roll and push comes to shove several months from now and week 1 of the 2024 season kicks off. And if that's the case, I like their odds. I like their odds to make a deep run, and BetUS does as well. One of my sponsors here inside the channel. I wanted to bring you to betus.com, and let's take a look at the NFL Super Bowl 2025 winner and the odds where the Ravens currently sit. The third best odds league-wide, San Francisco and Kansas City, both at plus 600. And Baltimore, right there, the third best odds to win Super Bowl 59. Going to be played in New Orleans next February. Cincinnati right below them at plus 1,400. Buffalo, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Dallas also in the conversation. But to have a little bit of fun, and because of the confidence that I have of what they now have in front of them, let's just take a look at what the throwing around some money can do. Because again, I feel confident. So I'm going to throw $100 down to potentially win 90 just for fun. See what the Ravens bring me. See if some of these predictions end up coming true. They obviously got to remain healthy. But anyway, here's a quick message from my friends at BetUS before we get to EDC having a heck of a press conference.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Okay, they're going to give you a 125% bonus, not only on your first deposit, but on your first 3 deposits up to $2,500 if you use the promo code JOIN125. That's JOIN125. On top of that, they're going to give you 10% gambler's insurance for your net losses if you are active every 6 months. Please bet responsibly. Go check them out in the show notes below. I have a link there included for you, and it's not too early to start looking at different opportunities, different wagers, different parlays for the 2024 Ravens season. And they look like they're going to make a run. And obviously, they're still looking to add pieces, whether that be through the draft or whether that be kind of on the back end now of free agency. One of those pieces, as he's rumored to be, or at least as it's been rumored to be online, is this conversation surrounding 49ers star Deebo Samuel. And this was drummed up by Jason LaCanfora of 105.7 The Fan here locally in the Baltimore area. If those of you who maybe aren't familiar with him out of market or maybe you're out of country, Jason is a former NFL insider for CBS Sports. And again, he is now the afternoon host, drive time host on 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. He has I would say, spotty track record, to say the very least, in recent years regarding his Ravens reporting. Does not have a lot of friends in that building, has burned quite a few bridges inside that building, and I don't believe he really has much access, if at all, at this point at one winning drive. And I know that from several, or at least a couple, reliable sources. So anyway, this was the tweet that got people going, in addition with, on top of talking about it during his show. Now, this isn't his tweet, but this is more than likely him tweeting it from the 105.7 The Fan account, the Inside Access account, which is his show. With the Ravens creating cap room, some of it could be earmarked for a wide receiver. We heard they reached out to San Francisco about Deebo Samuel's availability. In parentheses, that's a no, at least for now, and are watching Chargers wide receiver situations closely. One's getting cut or traded. They obviously need edge help also. Okay, so this was the tweet on top of the segment on 105.7 The Fan, which reiterated the report that Jason had heard that Baltimore had inquired about Deebo Samuel. Remember, The Ravens do not have a whole lot of money to spend. And they just went above and beyond, at least in terms of what the market was projecting Derrick Henry to be at. They went above and beyond in awarding him a 2-year contract with $9 million guaranteed in the first season. Okay? So let's just keep that in mind. Like, something like this isn't feasible to begin with. Okay? Eric DeCosta was asked about this report making waves online, because it did. It certainly garnered a bunch of attention. And here's how EDC responded.
There's a report you may be looking for Deebo Samuel or another veteran. Can you comment on where you're at there?
Yeah, I think, that specific report was probably, I read the Lorax last week at a local elementary school, and I would probably put that report that similar to that.
Okay, you see that immediate smile that came across his face, almost like an evil, devilish grin? Yeah, make no mistake about it. EDC and Jason used to have a relationship, used to have a friendship, and that has all but deteriorated. I mean, that's no longer a friendship. That's no longer a relationship. And Eric was clear. Like, there was some strategic nature to that answer. I think he's tired of the misinformation. I think he's tired of the nonsense that's come from Jason over the years. And by the way, I don't have anything against Jason. This isn't like a hit piece or a hit episode on Jason. I actually listen to the show quite often. I'm buddies with Tim. I know Ken well from my time in radio, his co-hosts. And it's a good show. Got a lot of great guests. I think Jason's football knowledge and acumen is at a high level. Where he has screwed up in recent years, in my opinion, is some of this reporting, some of this almost egotistical way of making things personal, which is exactly what he did on Twitter after hearing and listening to what I just played for you, Eric's response. Thinking out loud, but maybe I'll start a story time segment. Or I should probably read that in a different tone. Thinking out loud, but maybe I'll start a story time segment where I read back texts from a habitually lying general manager over the years. That might be a fun radio segment. Oh, where to start? Okay. The first thing that I thought of when I saw this was that this is personal. This has become personal, and he's airing whatever happened between he and Eric, and however that relationship has deteriorated over the years. He is now airing that out publicly. It's not a good look. Not a good look for Jason as a personality, Jason as a broadcaster, Jason as somebody who probably would benefit from having access to one winning drive and the Baltimore Ravens. But what we've seen year after year here over the last several, and I don't want to call it fabricated stories, because, to be honest with you, I can't sit here and question Jason's sources. Eric is questioning Jason's sources. Eric is the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens. He has a right to do that. So whereas I sit here and I say to myself, yeah, I'm sure Jason is very, very well connected throughout the NFL circles. Yeah, I'm sure Jason has burnt a lot of bridges. But I don't immediately refute his reports when they come out, because I like to see what others have to say, whether it's reporting counterparts or guys who are in the immediate know, like an Eric DeCosta. And when he responds the way that he does, and when he refutes it, and when he shoots it down so intensely, it becomes clear to me that Jason isn't as plugged in as we may think he is with the resume in the past that he has. And that, to me, is a part of a bigger picture. Has Jason's burnt bridges come back to bite him? And is he now being fed information as the messenger who can't really be trusted? And because of that, is he put in a position where when he's sent these nuggets, when he goes and fishes for those nuggets, all of a sudden you got to ask yourself, is whoever is on the other end of him as messenger, are they setting him up? Are they telling him half the story? Are they using him as a way of drumming up interest, drumming up rumors, putting the Ravens in a tough situation? All those are fair questions you have to ask. Because when you get to the point when a general manager uses that opportunity to answer a question like that and essentially question you, right? Question your, I don't know if integrity is the right word, but your thoroughness and your connectivity as a reporter, that begs the question. Should this dude be listened to? Or should we consistently, from this point forward, feel skeptical about information that he pushes? Because to me, this feels like a bunch of misinformation. I mean, watch Eric's face.
Eric, how much do you feel you have left in the tank, or something feel like, your best days are behind you? What's your response to that?
Tell them to keep watching.
They say the same thing about you, Jerry.
And look at you, you still here, so.
All right, so I pressed the wrong video there, but I did want to show you that because Eric was on fire. Now that's to Jerry Coleman, who is a former 105.7 The Fan radio host as well, actually a friend of mine. So I think you'll appreciate this. But that was just to show that Eric was on a roll earlier today at the press conference and kind of got all over Jerry about, and they have a friendship, and I don't think there was any kind of ill will there from Eric to Jerry. That was just a hilarious comeback. But what I meant to play was look at Eric's face here when the Deebo Samuel questions presented to him.
There's a report you may be looking for Deebo Samuel or another veteran. Can you comment on where you're at there?
Yeah, I think, that specific report was probably, I read the Lorax last week at a local elementary school, and I would probably put that report similar to that.
I mean, look at how happy he was. He was grinning ear to ear that question was posed. So that to me is kind of the moral of the story here. It got personal, and Jason took it to a point where I think that could come back to continue to bite him. And it seems like the burned bridges continue to put him in a difficult situation, especially when it comes to reporting on the happenings inside one winning drive at the Baltimore Ravens facilities. So anyway, wanted to hop on there. Sarah and I have a full live stream available for you if you haven't already checked it out, which reacts in full, thoroughly, clip by clip of Derrick Henry's introductory press conference as a Baltimore Raven. So go check that out if you haven't already done so. Shout out to my OG patrons, Wesley the Barber, Paul Bauer. Thank you both for believing in what I'm building here in Baltimore and beyond. I appreciate your guys' support through Patreon this month. And if you're interested in doing the same out there, visit patreon.com/Bobby Trosset, which is that direct link is found in the show notes below if you want to help me out and you want a little bit of an incentive in return with a monthly shout out for one example. So thanks to BetUS for sponsoring my channel, not only during the football season, but now into the off season as we get ready to turn a page for the NFL draft and all of the coverage that Sarah and I have planned for you coming up on deck. And as always, hope to see you again here inside the channel, and we will talk soon.